Good evening, Niner fans. Another day, another show. I'm joined today by my man Ryan from No Border Sports. What's up, Ryan? How are we feeling today? How the hell are you?
Yeah, good. It's a great Wednesday.
It's actually Thursday.
It is a Thursday. Sorry, my days are a little off. We were talking about this the other day. How the time get our days messed up. Happy
Yeah.
Thursday to everybody.
Happy
One more
Thursday.
day till Friday.
Happy Thursday, and since we're on it, happy belated Wednesday. Let's get to it. How's everybody
Yeah,
feeling in the chat? Welcome. I'm gonna give you a minute to catch yourself. It happens. It happens. It happens. It is Thursday all day today. It's Thursday. Today there wasn't a lot of big news, but there was some there was a news that we should talk about because the 49ers officially named Steve Wilks the defensive coordinator. They finalized their coaching hires. This has been a big thing. Like who's going to be the coaching, staff? They lost a lot of coaches, obviously, this offseason, like they always do. But the big news was Steve Wilks is officially the DC. I think he's going to be a good DC. We've talked about this many times over the last month since he was, signed and everything. I like him. Again, you're going to lose a guy like D'Amico Ryans. I think Steve Wilkes has a lot of pressure on him coming in, though, because he's going to have big shoes to fill. Two good defensive coordinators he's following up. Robert Salah, he's a head coach. D'Amico Ryans, he's a head coach. So if you really think about the 49ers, they groom these guys to become coaches. So Steve Wilkes, in my mind, in 2 years, he'll probably be a head coach of the 49ers. Will get a comp pick. I like the move overall. The thing that I don't know if I'm surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised. But the one thing that I was looking at the coaches and everything this whole offseason, they didn't get an offensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan likes to call the plays. And again, this is another year of him not having an OC. He did it 1 year with Mike McDaniel, and he became a head coach. So I wasn't too surprised about that. But they did get Clint Kubiak as like the passing game specialist. So maybe he's going to have a role in helping with that area. You got Anthony Lynn still there, which we talked off camera, and you were surprised that he's still on the team. But what do you think about Steve Wilkes? He brought in a couple assistant coaches on his staff that were with him when he was with Missouri back in the day. So I think overall we've replaced good coaches with good coaches.
I think we're in a good spot. Real quick though, I want to. Oh, what were you talking about? You brought up what coach was it? Was it coach? It'll probably hit me later. Anyway, Steve Wilkes. I like the fact that we've got kind of the defense will be changing a little bit as far as kind of it seems like he likes to lean a little bit more on zone. So obviously we're still going to be playing, our fair share of man, but I think at certain times we'll have exciting zone packages that will probably confuse some people. You know what I mean? As far as the other quarterback. I think I don't know about his coaches, but I think he's obviously here for a reason, and you kind of got to give him the people that he wants.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's not getting this chance right here, knowing that, the next job he could get is a head coaching job. I don't think he's trying to just get all his homies in here. I think he's trying to put the best foot forward and get people who actually produce in his coaching staff. So it shows how capable he is. I'm still trying to remember what I was thinking of.
Anthony Lynn? Was it Anthony Lynn? I think it was
No,
Anthony
it was before that. I can't remember.
Clint,
Anyway.
Clint Kubiak. The 49ers hired
Oh, the
Clint
offensive
Kubiak.
coordinator. I was thinking the only reason why Mike McDaniel was offensive coordinator, because I think Kyle is like, bro, everybody's sleeping on you. They're not going to notice you if you're here, like, McVay was, or this or that, just on the staff. You have to be in this position, even though they know you're not calling the plays. They know that you're, in that position doing the offensive coordinator job. And that'll, I think that's the reason why he got that position. Other than that, I don't think Kyle needs quote unquote offensive coordinator.
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily, because I know over the couple years there's been the people that say, he needs an offensive coordinator, take some pressure off of. But I was, a couple years back, I was kind of under the camp that says, I love Kyle. He's an offensive genius. Obviously, he knows how to scheme things up, but maybe you take a little pressure off his plate by getting a coordinator, because he's got so much on his plate as a head coach. But again, he marches to the beat of his own drum. He's a different type of coach. Like, I think he can handle it as he's gotten, more evolved as a head coach. I think he's kind of learned how to streamline it, and he knows his plays and he knows his personnel, and he does have assistants around. Like we talked about, the Anthony Lynn's, the Kubiaks, the Brian Greaseys. I'm sure they help around, but on game day, it's he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the man. I'm calling the plays. If we lose, it's on me. If we win, I'm gonna look great. So I think you're right with the McDaniels take you had. Real quick, there was a question by Steven Reynolds. He says, "What about the new secondary coach since Unlin left?" Yeah, so we did lose our secondary coach, DB coach, but there are some guys on the roster. Daniel Bullocks, he could be. He's the safeties coach, so I mean, technically, he could just take a bigger role and say, "Yeah, I'm the DB coach." I mean, that's one way to look at it. Or maybe we'll still bring in another guy, because you're absolutely right. He's going to be the new defense coordinator. He wants to make sure he gets coaches that he feels comfortable with, just like D'Amico. He took players or coaches and players that he feels comfortable with, taking over a new team. So it's the way it goes in the NFL. You want to get people that you're comfortable with. Kyle Shanahan's done it his whole career as the coach. He brings in players, he brings in coaches that he knows can run his system. So definitely can see maybe another coach or two that the 49ers implement in terms of assistant coach or positional coach. But the best positional coach that we have is still there, and that's Chris Kasurk. I'm so happy we still have him. That guy is a dog, man. As long as we have him, this D-line's going to be in good hands. And speaking of good defensive line, 49ers made a move yesterday. Austin Bryant, defensive edge, Lions guy. He's not a big name, not a big market mover, not a splash pick. But again, you have Chris Kasurk, sprinkle the dust. He can make him a solid rotational player, maybe give you 5 sacks. What do you think about all that?
It seems like he's a speed guy. So whether he gets home or not, if he can get home quick enough to make the quarterback move into someone else's rush, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? That's one thing I think people don't understand about how like the strength and the speed part of the rush works. You know what I mean? It's kind of I think back to like the Zulu tactics where they hit you up front and then they swarm you around both sides. You know what I mean? So then you're screwed because you're covered in all sides. You got the quick guys, and the old guys bring up the rear. You know what I mean? Because the quick guys can get around quicker. It's crazy. But I think that's how it's one of the best ways to do it. I think having speed on both sides, it's nice because you get there quicker, but also if anybody gets a hold of one of your rushers, they're immediately pushed off their track. Oh, shout out Joe Stevens in the chat. That's my Seahawks homeboy. I had a show with him last night. So I think, the speed mixed with the physical, which I would say that Nick is. I wouldn't call him the speed, and he's not. He's smaller than more what you would normally think of like a strength type of rusher would be. He's smaller and just more compact, which I think makes him more potent out there. With all that leverage, he's automatically got leverage on like every single tackle in the game. So I think it's a great pickup, but I think it's depth. Unless he all of a sudden like wakes up in this system, I don't know if he'll get to 5.
You don't know he's going to get 5. I mean, maybe. Again, I agree. He's a depth piece, but Chris Kasurk can get a lot out of depth pieces. I never expected much out of Kerry Hyder a few years ago. Obviously, there was injuries, but he killed it. You got Arden Key, Amenahu. He turns these guys into decent players.
If I'm correct, he's got 4 sacks in 4 years.
4.5. Yeah, he had one season where he was healthy. Yeah. A lot of it's injuries. I mean, that's right up the 49ers alley. But if he can stay healthy, it's our guy, man. But the thing is, they did lose. You lose Jordan Willis. You lose Amenahu. You lose Ebukam. That's a lot of snaps. So at the end of the day, you got to replace snaps on the line. Now you have to make sure those snaps are critical snaps. They got to have some type of production out of it. But now you got Hargrave in there. You got Armstead. You got a Bosa. Those guys are going to get double teamed. So whoever's on that other side should have easy pickings, really, if they can figure things out. You got Drake Jackson, who hopefully ascends this year. You got Cleveland Farrell, who he's not horrible. He's not elite, but it's a guy that fits their mold of guys they're looking for. Kind of, on the outskirts, kind of it didn't live up to his potential, but you come in, Chris Kasurek gets the most out of him and gets a decent year out of him, and then they go get paid. So, and Farrell and Bryant, they played together in college, as we know. Clemson, everybody's been talking about that. I mean, they got some cohesion. I'm sure they know how to play on the line together, so that's going to help them a little bit. But I agree. I mean, Austin Bryant again. I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to get like 10 sacks. Oh my God, we got Austin Bryant, but it'll be depth. He'll probably replace Jordan Willis.
And I think a lot of people are saying that Farrell works well if he's working from the inside to the outside on like a stunt. So if that's the case, it might be nice to put those two guys next to each other on the line. You know what I mean? They got chemistry. One guy is great going from the outside. The other guy's quick. If you can open up any space and he can get through it, that might just be deadly. You know what I mean? Because
it's a good theory.
Yeah, if it all plays out, that's what I'm saying. Like he could get 5 sacks, like you were talking about, with all the other players on the team having to get, or all the other players on the line having to garner so much attention. He could, like, especially if he's not getting he's the last person who's getting chipped by a running back, I think, on the line. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
unless he's got a tight end, I don't see anything really happening to him. So
that's true. Again, this is going to be an interesting defensive line because they did have to bring new players in. They had to replace guys, but we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting mix. It always is an interesting mix with the 49ers D line. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Wilks implements these guys into his system, because it's not going to be D'Amico Ryans. Are they going to be blitzing more? And if they're going to be blitzing more, that's going to be a whole different setup than what it was with D'Amico and even Robert Salah going back to the wide 9 technique. So it's going to be fun to see how they kind of implement all this together.
So we trading Kinlaw or nah?
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I was going to see if you had anything more to add, but let's get on to this comment. So Raul's got this question. A lot of people are in the chat, and he says, so are we trading Kinlaw or not? So there was a report earlier. Let me bring this up. So Javon Kinlaw, as we know, a very controversial topic amongst 49er fans, because obviously he didn't live up to the expectations. You'd mention the guy's name, and everybody just starts dropping the word bust, and it's bad. Unfortunately for him, he was never available on the field. You can't develop. Best ability is availability, all that, yeah. So today, Cam Inman, he went out there and he reported that he talked to John Lynch yesterday at Stanford's Pro Day, and he says that the 49ers are going to hold on to Javon Kinlaw. They're not going to trade him. They're going to keep him for his 4th year. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, which I think we all expected them not to do. This was the quote from the article that Inman wrote. He says, where is it? He goes, this will allow the defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw to work part-time in a robust rotation. He says, Kinlaw, by the way, is starting this offseason with a healthier knee. In the past years, the 49ers have no designs to trade him ahead of the 4th and final year of his rookie contract. So obviously they can't really cut him because you're going to take a cap hit. It doesn't seem like he has trade value. Obviously, to me, this tells me is maybe they did look into the market and they couldn't find anything of value for him. Maybe not even a 7th pick. So John Lynch says, screw it. We're going to keep him. We're going to give him that opportunity. Come into camp. Try to make this rotation. They keep 10 to 11 defensive linemen. At least be a rotational piece. If you can't be a rotational piece, you're not going to make it on this team. So that's it. This is Javon Kinlaw's final chance. Can he be healthy? Can he at least be a rotational guy with Kevin Givens and Kalia Davis and all those other guys? This is his final chance. But it appears they're not trading him. But they've said this before, that they're not trading a guy, and they've traded him. What do you think?
I can pretty much guarantee they're not going to trade him before June 1st.
Okay.
The reason being is I think the only trade they can make for him is, like we're talking backstage, is for another player that another team deems a bust, or somebody who, they're in the same position. It's like, I got a guy on a roster, he's not really doing anything. We kind of owe him some money, you know what I mean? So if we go and trade him, we could trade him for likewise players. But if we do that before June 1st, we have to eat all of his like 4-point-something million. If we do that after the 1st, we get to save like $2 million. So right now, I don't see us trading for anything with him who he doesn't really have any value. It's like a 7th round pick, he doesn't have any value. He might hold value between 2 7-round picks. So like if the Niners have got a late 7th round pick and somebody else has got, a couple picks up, the Niners could go, hey, trade you Javon Kinlaw for that pick. But then you're talking about you're eating $4 million right then at that spot just to move up a couple spots in the 7th round. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So maybe after the first, and it would, you're talking, I don't know, what other teams could be like, yeah, I'm going to pay your $2 million for him. Because it's probably going to be, we're paying $2 million for the guy we're bringing on over that you're trading for him. So,
yeah, it makes no sense. And again, everything that this report makes sense to me. What John Lynch said, what he told Cam Inman is, we're going to let him compete, because you're right. You trade him, you're not going to get much value out of him. Nobody's going to probably want to pay that for a guy that's been injured through his career, unfortunately. So the 49ers are going to say, hey, look, we give you the benefit of the doubt. You've been on this team for now 4 years. Go out there. Show us what you got. Please try to be a productive member of this line. And if he does, good for him. He'll be able to be out there and be part of this rotation. But obviously, he's not going to be a star player. We know that. We can't. We got to move away from calling him a star type player with all his potential. That's why they got Hargrave, because they knew they messed up. And now you have Hargrave and Armstead, and that is your dynamic duo in the middle. But at least you can have a guy give you some snaps, and there won't be as much pressure on him, because I think before there was so much pressure on him to go out there and be a superstar, because they, traded Defoe, all the good stuff. We all know that. A lot of pressure, and then the injuries, and now it's mental. He's like, oh my God, I gotta go out there and prove everybody. I gotta go prove Grant Cohn wrong, and all these haters that I'm that guy. And it probably mounted up on him mentally and physically. So now he can just be out there and help you, give you a couple snaps during a game. Again, you have other defensive linemen. You got again, we mentioned Kevin Givens. You got Kalia Davis, the youngster who's going to be coming in this year, coming off a torn ACL. So you could compete with another guy and try to make the roster over him. And there's several other players that they have on this team. T.Y. McGill, I like him. They brought him back. So you're competing with those guys. We'll see how it goes for Kinlaw. But I absolutely agree with you. It just doesn't make sense at this point to trade him. So
we got a couple guys on that D line that we haven't really seen what they can do yet. And our line could be truly scary next year for teams, like more so than what we already think it is. Because if like TY comes in, has all, a great year, if Drake Jackson can step up and, build upon everything that he did last year and make a leap, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I like him. I think he has the potential, and if he does take a leap, then that's a solid dub. It's a dub that you like to see, because there has been some big L's, like we're talking about Kinlaw. That's a bad. You got to take it. You got to call it like it is, and that was definitely, as people in the chat are saying, that was a bad move. Unfortunately, you're gonna make some good moves. You're gonna make some bad decisions. They've had a lot of good ones, but there have been some bad ones, and we got to move on from this. Call it what it is. You call it spade a spade. They got Hargrave. Now we just got to move forward, and team is still amazing. They have good depth, and Kinlaw can at least be depth. And I think if we can agree that he's a depth piece, and if he comes in and helps out, that's fine. And then after this year, wash our hands from him. He's gone. They've done it with a few players. Solomon Thomas, he was a bust, and he moved on to greener pastures, and he's been a solid depth player wherever he's been. So maybe that's what happens to Kinlaw here, so.
And it's his last year with us, and he'll be moving on into free agency. So there might be some sort of fire underneath him, or we might get more production than we expect out of him.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Which is sad.
Now he's money motivated. No, you're absolutely right. This is money motivated. He's going to be in a contract year. So if he wants to get paid somewhere, whether it be the Niners or anywhere else, he might put together a decent season, which I'll take it. If I can get a good season out of Kinlaw for once, and then he goes and gets paid, kudos to him.
Bro,
kudos to him.
Go.
Yeah.
Don't pay that man too much, but whatever.
Just like, imagine he gets an $87 million contract like Mike McGlinchey. God, Jesus, can you imagine? Holy smokes. I still can't believe Mike McGlinchey got paid A lot, that much money.
Bro.
87.5. That's crazy.
Bro.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Real quick, I'm
Somebody
gonna get
hates themselves.
I know. It's tough. I wish him nothing but the best. I'm not gonna hate on him. I'm gonna answer this question, then I want to move back on to O-line. Nathan says the Niners are interested in Demario Douglas, wide receiver from Liberty. What are your thoughts? Take him. I think the 49ers need to keep on adding weapons. If they have 11 draft picks and they plan on using him, get your best available talent. If he's there and you can add him to your team, grab him. He's a solid player. You can never have enough wide receivers. I know we have good wide receivers. I don't think it's a big priority, but you never know what's going to happen with the injuries, and you never know what's going to happen in the future with BA. I don't know if they're going to keep him. I don't know if they're going to pay him eventually, but you always want to make sure you safeguard yourself no matter what happens, with this team, because you can't tell the future 2, 3, 4 years down the line. We may lose some of these guys on the team. I hate to, say that, but we've lost players this year, like Jimmy Ward and
I think
B-Man.
I think I know what's happening. I think most of our wide receivers are already on the team for what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I think Debo goes to Miami. We keep BA and we also keep Ray.
Wow. Okay.
Ray is the new Debo in space.
Okay. So you think,
and then you'll have.
So you think they'll get? So Debo, is he going to finish? In your opinion, will he finish out his contract? The 2 more years he has left.
No.
Whoa. That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Wow. What are they doing now? Are they going to trade him?
Yeah. To Miami.
Wow. That's a hot take. That's a hot take, Ryan.
I just feel that even though look, and I love Debo. Don't get me wrong. This would be the decision I guess I would have to make, but I'm not making it. Don't get me wrong. But I see the 49ers making a decision like this because how do you don't just get quarterback ones left and right out of the draft. You know what I mean? Like, look at Justin Jefferson. How many people just come out and can run routes like that? We don't have anybody. And if you think that Danny Gray in year 3 is going to be a Brandon Ayuk, I think you're mistaken because in year 1 we didn't see so much. Well, he didn't really have a lot of playing time, but I haven't heard much like out of practice and whatnot from him, just lighting things up, being a receiver and breaking people's ankles. And that's what we need. That's what we're going to need. Somebody, no matter who's on them, no matter what down and coverage it is, could get open. And that's a Brandon Ayuk. You know what I mean? So that's why I think Debo is the logical choice to move on from.
Wow. I'm gonna have you hold on to that. We'll see what happens. I mean, anything can happen with this team. You never know. I do think that BA though is a wide receiver one. Like you talked about route running. That's BA. He can separate. He's a route running king, like Justin Jefferson type of guy like that. If BA was on another team, it'd be disgusting what he could do.
He's not even like super fast, but he can get some of the biggest like gaps, in coverage that is just crazy. He knows the zones, the spots in the zone. He knows how to manipulate his cornerback that's all over him. And that just pays. It just pays.
Yeah. I hope they take care of him. I hope they don't do him dirty because I know a lot of people are going to speculate that. We'll see. I don't even know if they've tried to negotiate with them, but it kind of sounds like maybe they kicked the tires a little bit. And again, that tweet is a little interesting, and he sees himself as the 4th option, and he's got 1,000 yards. He's like, damn, I'm good, man. Wait till you see what I do this year. He's
right, though.
He is right. He's amazing. And the fact that he got 1,000 yards.
No, about the 4th option.
He is.
Yeah.
If you think about it, which is crazy that he got 1,000 yards as the 4th option. Like, you put him on another team, 1,500 yards at least. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Real quick, Flood says Elijah Mitchell's contract, what does it look like? I looked it up. He had a 4-year, $3.6 million rookie contract, obviously. He had a $183,000 signing bonus, annual salary of $915,000. So nothing big. A 6th-round pick, obviously. I mean, but $3 million over 4 years, I'll take it. I'll take it. Real quick, so let's We talked about Mike McGlinchey getting a lot of money. The 49ers also signed an offensive lineman since the last time we talked. John Feliciano. You had some thoughts to me regarding Feliciano signing before we came on live. So go ahead. Tell me what you think of John Feliciano.
Well, it seems like a guy that you bring in to start. I might have to sneeze here in a second. So it's a guy I think you bring in to start. If you remember when they brought in Tom Compton, Compton's contract was incentive based for the most part. Like, he had a small annual salary, but it was like, if you start, then you get an extra $1 million or something like that if you start. And so they brought him in to be like, to see if he could be the starting guard. He couldn't. Danny Brunskill beat him out. But at some point he got in there at guard. This John Feliciano's contract wasn't lined up that way. So he's probably paying, or unless you're paying like almost guaranteed money for him to ride the pine and be an alternate. So at that case, what guard is he playing? He's not playing left guard. We got Aaron Banks there. He's not playing right guard. We have, he could play center, but we just extended Brendel. So right guard would be the only position, but we've got Burford there. Now, did we pay him? Are we paying John Feliciano $2-point-something million this next year to share reps with Burford and maybe take over for Banks if he goes down? Like, don't we have other people on the team that could probably do this, like Zakelj or Poe or somebody like that, right? So to me, it seems like Burford moves over to tackle. John Feliciano comes in here as a vet right guard to help Burford. You know what I mean? So Burford's got a good guard that the 49ers could depend on, that Burford could depend on, has, his vet. It can help him out once he moves over to right tackle.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that they brought this guy in because, again, he's not just a depth piece. I don't think he started many times. He's a Swiss Army knife. Like, the initial thought everybody had on Twitter was, oh, okay, he's Dan Brunskill's replacement. He's Dan Brunskill. He's the guy that could be your backup, your sixth man, your Swiss Army knife. But you're right. You're not paying him just to sit there and ride the. He's a starter guy. Like, he's a quality offensive lineman. At least he's coming in to compete. He might steal a starting job. Obviously, he's not a right tackle. So you got competition now, Colton McKivitz, because now you can put Burford at right tackle and see if he can play better than McKivitz. And if this guy Feliciano is a good guard, as much as I love Burford, like, this is going to put him in a position that he has to elevate his game. So if Burford wants to be a starter, he's got to be even better now this season. So I like the move in terms of competition, but it's interesting because I don't know if this offensive line is set in stone yet. Like, before this move, I was like, okay, here's your line. Here's left tackle Trent Williams, left guard Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, Colton McKivitz. Now, it's up in the air on that right side. There's still some competition. And you're right, Brendel, they just gave him a 4-year extension. There's no way he's not going to start. But now you got a guy that say, hey, look, I played center last year, the whole year. I'm a starter. Run me my check. So it's going to be an interesting competition with the offensive line. But I do like it. I do like the move.
And like, are we really going to pay Colton McKivitz $2 million a year to be our starting right tackle? Like, yeah, I don't think that's the case. I like, nothing has ever stood out about Colton McKivitz that made me go, I feel confident. You know what I mean? Like, you know how when you watch backups on the field, you obviously understand they're backups for a reason. And even when they kind of give up certain things, it's like, well, he would push back. Does he need to just get stronger, or was it bad technique? You know what I mean? Start looking for that. And so you see, oh, we could work with that. I've never seen anything where I'm like, oh, Colton just needs to do a couple more bench presses and he'll be fine. It's more of like, what the heck was he thinking there? You know what I mean? And that's what makes me go, they're really paying this guy to be our starting right tackle.
It's a
also John Feliciano is, I guess is the feeling that I get from Giants fans. He's the Mike McGlinchey of the Giants. So there's that too.
Okay, so maybe he's like their cast off and we took their cast up. But it's okay. You know, maybe we can make them something decent. We'll see. But the thing with this offensive line is McKivitz to me is the biggest wild card, man. A biggest wild card on this team because he could either be a huge dub, like you take him, like you said, $2 million. He could be a starting tackle. That is a bargain for a guy at right tackle. Or he sucks, and you're like, okay, at least we're only paying him $2 million. So it's a big gamble, wild card. That's what we don't know on this on this offensive line. But to me, I hope, and I've said this before, and Slatty asked, when am I doing the mock draft? Soon enough, but we'll get there. I really want them to trade up and draft a right tackle in this draft. Please, if they're going to do anything in trade, like we've talked about all off season, a lot of people says the 49ers can trade. They have 11 draft picks. I want them to take one of those 11 draft picks, package them in a deal, and trade up to get a right tackle because there's some really good right tackles in this draft. Some absolute really good right tackles.
Yeah, I just don't know. If Burford can play right tackle, then why do we need to move up to get him? I'd rather move up to get a tight end.
Yeah, but there's this tight end draft is so deep. To me, this is one of the better tight end drafts.
No. You know I want a guy who can block and he can catch.
You want George Kittle 2.0.
Exactly. And there aren't a lot of them in this draft at all. There's like one that I know of, maybe two. So that's what I'm saying. If we're going to move up, why not get another tight end? Because if we've got two tight ends who can block and catch, right, and go out for receive, where you have to give them your full undivided attention, then we can go out there in that 22 personnel and we can smash people in the face to the point where they have to get, big on the line and everywhere else. Then we can spread our guys out 5 wide, go empty backfield, and cut them up with all the mismatches. That's why I think it's so imperative. Our 21 and 22 personnel would just be nasty. Yeah. So if Burford could come through and hold up, I say we move up to get a tight end like Sam Laporta or somebody along those lines.
Laporta would be dope. Like I do want him to get a big time tight end, but man, I know we're sitting here banking on Burford, but he played good at guard. I don't know the Feliciano thing. It does throw a wrench in everything because now you have a guy that could push Burford out to right tackle. But is he going to be a good right tackle in his first year playing right tackle in the NFL? It's hard to say. And then you got Colton McKivitz, who hasn't really started there in his career. He's getting his opportunity, just like they gave Banks his opportunity, just like they gave Brendel his opportunity. And if if history repeats itself, he could be a solid player there. But I want a guy that's day one right tackle starter, and you can build your offensive line around him because eventually, not only do you just need this right tackle for this year, eventually you're going to need a guy that can go to left tackle and replace Trent Williams because Trent Williams is not sticking around forever. He's getting older.
Why?
I don't know how much left on him.
Why are we drafting somebody, putting him at right tackle, and then switching him over to left tackle?
I mean, there's players that can play right and left. Like there's a guy like Freeland. He's actually a left. Maybe he could play right tackle this year and then transition to left. When Trent leaves. That's all I'm saying. It's a tough situation because you want to make sure you plan for the future. You know what I mean? Because Trent Williams, when he leaves, that's a tough spot to fill. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot to fill. So I'm looking 10 steps ahead. And the 49ers, they usually think 10 steps ahead. They're playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. So I don't know. I hope we don't do what Pocket says, move up and trade for a running back first pick. Oh gosh.
No, Kyle always goes edge. Edge or D tackle. He's going defensive line. That's his usual thing. Like last year, I didn't think we were going defensive end. Drake Jackson. I was like, why did we? And then I was like, well, I guess he did fall. It makes sense. You know what I mean? Like if he can be anything he says he could be, the TV's saying he could be at that point in time, I was like, well, it makes total sense because he would have been a steal at that point. So if he
Yeah.
can come through this year, it'll be totally worth it. His pick
Yeah,
will totally
100%.
be worth it.
He could be that guy that takes the leap. Again, I talked with what's up, my man Aaron's in the
Yes.
chat from 439ers First Takes. We talked about this last night. We had
What
our
up, John? What up, Aaron?
what's up, John? What's up, everybody in the chat joining us? Last night we talked about breakout players, and both of us said Drake Jackson could be that guy. And if he takes that leap, then your edge is going to be more reliable. Again, you're going to have help on Bosa, and that's maybe what they envisioned Drake to be, that D Ford guy that they missed out on. They always thought D Ford was going to be that speed rusher they need. So if Drake can get you eight sacks, man, maybe 10, I mean, that is huge. That would be a huge leap for the guy. So I do still think they could take another edge in this draft, but they did take him relatively early, second round pick. Drake Jackson, it was their first draft pick last year. I think there's a lot of high hopes on him. And if you remember, Aaron Banks too, a couple years back, they took him in the second round. They got rid of Laken Tomlinson, and boom, they let him go out there. He did his thing, and he really stepped in last year. So maybe Drake Jackson, his second year in the league, is going to be impressive. But that's all we can hope, because we need that edge production off the side. So we're going to see. But I wouldn't mind them taking another edge rusher too, Byron Young. I mean, there's so many good edge rushers in this class. So
yeah, I think you have to when drafts are so deep, like they are with certain position groups. I think you have to pick someone up because you never know how that can come in handy. Whether your guy goes down in the middle of the year and all of a sudden the guy who you brought in, all of a sudden has to play, or you've got draft capital there. You know what I mean? This guy's he's handy, you know what I mean? But I don't use him a lot because our other guy's good. Okay, well, I could trade him for some draft capital or for another player that I need. So I think it's always handy to draft positions when they're deep in certain drafts, because it's good to have somebody sitting around that's better than another position.
Yeah, that's true. That is one way to look at it, is if you're deep in a position, then you always can trade around, like look at the Jets. They had so many wide receivers. They were like, all right, we'll just trade Elijah Moore. I was like, well, that was shocker, around the league. Now we're talking about draft and everything, and then the 49ers needs. I want to shift gears a little. So I don't know if you've been on Kicker Watch, but I've been on Kicker Watch. So I've been looking around because the 49ers still don't have a kicker. Robbie Gould, no contract, no news really. Ryan Suckup was released, I believe, by the Buccaneers. And then the Panthers brought back their kicker. I can't remember his name, but what was his name? Real quick, let me pull it up. That was a guy that everybody was kind of looking into, that they can sign, veteran free agent, kicker. It was what was it? Eddie Pinheiro. Eddie Pinheiro. Yeah, that was a guy that we could have drafted, or sorry, not drafted. We could have signed as a veteran. He's off the market. I don't know. I think we should just draft a kicker at this point because you need a kicker.
Not just that, but you got Jake Moody, who is like a Robbie Gould, and he's got a 60-yard foot on him. So, and you're getting younger and cheaper at the position. Yeah. So that's how I feel. And I feel with our offense next year, it should be a little bit more explosive. Trey Lance has got more of an arm on him. So you get a nice, good ball that takes the top off the defense. And one thing I like about Trey Lance is that he's got a stronger arm than Jimmy, to where he can get the ball deeper down the field, where people like Debo and Brandon Ayuk have less players in between them and the end zone. You know what I mean? So it's less people to juke. And so to me, it just multiplies the amount of points you can get. The less people in front of them and the end zone, it just, I think, just starts multiplying the chances of scoring.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, if you get a kicker with the leg, Jake Moody, like you said, that guy, he can kick so far. It gives you a little bit more chance to be aggressive on offense. You can be a little bit more aggressive. So I want that. And you get the touchbacks. We've talked about that. And your field position would be better. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate if Robbie comes back, but I feel like at this point, maybe a little awkward because he's been testing free agency. It was like everybody's kind of saying goodbye, and now it's like, oh, Robbie's back. I mean, there's still an opportunity for him to come back. Maybe when the free agency dust settles, if they don't get a kicker, maybe you grab him back. But I kind of feel like they need to just draft a kicker. It's going to save you money. You get a guy that could be on your team for a long time. I mean, look, Mitch Wishnowsky, they did that a couple years ago. People hated that, fourth round punter, but he's turned out to be a solid special teams guy for us, a solid punter for us. So I think you roll the dice. You get a kicker a little earlier than most people would want, but you run it with them. That's what I think you should do.
When you got a kicker with the leg of like a Jake Moody, I think certain things open up to where he might be able to figure out a way to kick a kickoff ball where it's like one of them funky punts that people, it's hard for people to catch.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there, put it on a tee a certain way, and then you boot that thing, make it a high hanger. You know what I'm saying? You make it come up at around the 20-yard line. You know what I mean? And then, well, can you fair catch? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you made it to where somebody is gonna be able to make it, might be able to fumble the ball there, and your whole team can be around it. That might be something. Because when you kick a ball a funny way, sometimes it'll take your leg off of it and it won't go as far. So that's why somebody like Jake Moody, he might be able to do a funny kick that has a good hang time, falls real funny to where it's harder for people to catch, and cause turnovers there on kickoffs. It's see what I'm saying? Like, look at Pat McAfee.
Yeah, you can win a little game here or two with that. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Stuff like that, the little things that could maybe force you to win a game here and there. So we'll see. Again, if it's me, I'm taking one of and Jake Moody's just an example. There's a lot of good kickers in this draft that you can go and get, and maybe you don't even need to draft him. Maybe you get an undrafted. Maybe you get him 7th round, whatever. You got 11 picks. You can use one on a kicker. That's all I'm saying. Again, there's free agents out there, but the free agent market's drying up. It's kind of crazy. I'm kind of like on Kicker Watch going, okay, what kicker's available? Oh my God, he signed. Oh my God. And like today, again, Ryan stuck up. He got released, and everybody's like, oh, they got to get him. I'm like, it doesn't move the needle for me. Go get it. I'd be just as happy with drafting a kicker and signing a free agent kicker on the market. Again, you need a solid, reliable guy, but one of these guys that's going to be drafted is going to become a solid, reliable kicker in the NFL. So why not go get a young one?
And Bryant Culp, I don't know if everybody knows who Bryant Culp is. Shout out to Bryant Culp. Mm-hmm. He does on the weekends he has a morning show. I think it's at 9:30 or 9:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. But he was saying there's about 3 kickers in the draft that are like Jake Moody. So there's, as far as I know, there's still like 2 kicker needy teams out there. So if there's 3 guys, then to me, we definitely got one of them.
We get him. I think there's a few other kickers. Chad Ryland's one of the guys that comes off the top of my head. But yeah, I think Jake Moody's like he's the peak kicker. I watch. He's the man. He's the kicker of all kickers in the draft. So I mean, if you're gonna get the best one, if you're gonna draft one, you might as well get the best one. That's my take on it. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see. The draft's gonna be exciting. I can't wait. I always love the draft. We can sit here and speculate, but at the end of the day, we can run 1,000 mock drafts. We probably will get a few picks right here and there. I mean, if you do that many, but we can't predict who they want, what they are gonna do. We never do. Every year, I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't see that. I mean, there's some players where I'm like, I knew they were gonna get them, but for the most part, it's just like you want all these players, you get your hopes up, and then they draft someone else, and you're like, oh my God. And then a couple years later, you like them. Like Aaron Banks, prime example. I was like, oh wow, I was not expecting that. I remember everybody wanted like Asante Samuel Jr., Azeez Ojulari, all these other guys, passed up on him, and now Aaron Banks turned into a solid player for us. So you just got to see how the draft goes. You got to see a couple of years, and then you make your assessment. But it's hard to judge everything initially. And of course, we're all excited. We have our players we love to scout and during the draft season. But they know best, and I'm gonna let those guys take care of it because they've done a pretty good job over the last couple of years. We have good depth, so we'll see how it goes with this draft and kickers and everything.
Quick question: yeah. how high in the draft would you feel comfortable taking a kicker?
Yeah, honestly, I take a kicker, and I would take Jake Moody in the 4th round.
Yeah, I if like I don't even care. Like if we took him in the 3rd round, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
And the reason being is he's a day 1 starter. And I know people are like, well, a 3rd round pick for, and look, I get you. I would try and move down. I would try to move down somehow to the 4th, or pair some picks to move up, something like that. But if there was no way around it, I would draft him in the 3rd and wouldn't think about it, because day 1 starter, kick a 60-yard field goal. I got kickoffs, touchbacks all day long on the kickoff. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And he's cheap and this and that. And now I don't have to think about that for for 3 or 4 years.
4 years, couple $100,000. It's not that big of a deal. And this is a great time to bring up the fact. My man Fled says, I remember the reaction I had when we drafted Trey Sermon. Now, here's the thing. I'd rather have him take a kicker that can start a game for you than another running back in the 3rd round. Because guess what? 49ers mess up all the time taking these running back. Trey Sermon, TDP last. Oh, I was like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? So I'd take a kicker that can start and kick 60-yard field goals any day of the week at the 3rd round. I know there's going to be a lot of people on Twitter. Oh, my God, they drafted a kicker in the 3rd round. He's going to be a starter, and he's going to be a franchise kicker for at least 4 years. So that's all. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's it. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be mad if they took a kicker early. I really would.
And in 4 years, we might be in contract issues and woes, and our kicker might be one of the only people making us points.
That's a good point, because for a long time that was the case. Robbie Gould was our offense for many years. I think that's why so many people love Robbie Gould, because this man, they trot him out and he'd be kicking all up. There was times I watch a game, I'm like, all we got is 9 points. It's all Robbie Gould. So I respect Robbie, but at this point he's 40. It's going to cost a little bit too much, and his, he's just not going to get any better. Obviously, he's 40 years old. His legs going to get tired and weak as he continues to play. So, and he's had a great career. Playoff, he's clutch, but let him go stay home. All right, that's it. That's it. That's my take on it. I love Robbie though. He's a great guy. Yeah. I love the guy. Good dude.
Talking about hotel room, but he's going to be living out a hotel room, whatever team he goes to. Yeah. And bro, you make enough money, you could have bought a house, you know what I'm saying, and rent it out as an Airbnb. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much stuff you could have done. I don't want to hear about the hotel room stuff.
Yeah. I get it, and I feel it simply, but at the same time, because someone said this, so I was on live one time. We were talking about that whole, he lives out of a hotel room when he comes here. He is making $6 million, so I mean, you can't complain about it too much. He's making $6 million, but $6 million in California is more like $3 million, with taxes and everything. So it's still $3 million. I'd still take that any day of the week. So
when he goes back to Chicago, he could be renting out the house, you know what I'm saying, and making money back, paying the mortgage for that one there, you know what I'm saying, and then rent the house. Like, you're talking about generational money, bro. Like, if you can't figure it out, you can't figure it out, Robbie.
It's a lot of money. A lot of money. I wish I had them. I wish I was good at kicking a football, because I would be making a couple $1 million for kicking a football, So that's I wish I would have been able to do it.
If I had it all over again, I would probably done what Tabor Pepper did and become a long snapper.
He's living the life, man. I talked to him a lot. He's living the life, man.
Speaking of which, everybody needs to make sure they go on Twitter and vote for him. Because there's a long snappers bracket right now, and he's up against, I don't know, somebody from the Bills or the Giants or somebody like that. And if he wins this one, then he's in the championship round against the other long snapper from like the Eagles, or I think the Giants.
I saw it. So what does he win from it? Because I see it. I'm on it right now.
I don't know. I don't care what he wins. That's our guy. We need to make sure he wins. Yeah,
of course. I think he's leading right now, because he's been pulling the votes.
It was 50% last time I looked, and it's been going for hours at 50%. We were down at 48.
Kittle retweeted at one point. I remember I had something in there. Let's see. Yeah, I think he's winning.
Okay.
I think he's up 52%, 48%. Let's go. Strong push by Tabor.
Make sure you get out there. Every vote counts.
Go vote for Tabor. So here, it's on Twitter. Long snapping lifestyle. And there's a March Madness poll for these kickers. For these long snappers. That's absolutely amazing. Let's go win it for my boy Tabor. Check it out. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all the news. I think we caught up. I mean, free agency. We finalized our head coaches. Brandon Ayuk sitting there sending controversial tweets that everybody's overanalyzing.
Was it really controversial? He was just stating how good he was.
Everybody is thinking it's controversial because you know how 49ers Twitter is. They see something like that and instantly they're, oh my God, Brandon. And it was funny because when I talked about it was a few weeks ago, everybody saw him like that picture of him in a Giants shirt and everybody's saying, oh my God, Brandon Ayuk wants to be traded. So then you put this tweet out there and everybody's still saying, oh, Brandon Ayuk, don't trade him. I'm like, why are they going to trade? So I feel like Twitter just looking, 49ers Twitter just always looking for drama. That's it. It's a dramatic environment.
Yes.
Very dramatic. It's like a soap opera. It keeps me entertained though. I love it. I love being part of it. It's been amazing.
Oh man. Like when everybody was gosh, what was that news that wasn't news that came out where I had to be like, bro, it's not a report. It's just some guy's opinion and everybody's treating it as a report about Baker Mayfield. Remember Baker Mayfield coming to the Niners?
Oh yeah, that was silly.
That was just because somebody wrote about it and then somebody took that article and retweeted it with some deceiving words right above it. And well, I don't even think they were retweeting the article. They were retweeting something he had said and then said something else on top of it, but that was the same. Yeah, so I was like, wait.
It's a crazy time of the season. Off season's just it's just people creating false stories and you can never know what's true or not. Even reliable sources. You never know sometimes.
Just, gosh. Beto tried Beto from 49er sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he tweeted me and Mariah and I the other day, or DM'd us. Eddie DeBartolo is buying the Buccaneers. Or not the Buccaneers, but the Commanders.
Oh, is that true?
And I'm like, what? So I'm in the middle of trying to go through all the latest news so I could set up our questions for that night's show. I stopped to try and find this, you know what I mean? Because if that's like got to be the thing we're talking about, right?
That's big, yeah.
Can't find anything. Mariah's like, is this a real thing? And I was like, Mariah, he must be blowing it out his ass because I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that. It turns out he was gonna mess with us. He was gonna send it, and then a couple seconds later go be like, joking, blah blah blah. But his wife was like, hey, come here, do something, and he got caught doing like chores for like 2 hours, and he's like, forgot that he left us like that.
Oh, he left John Reed, dude. That's it.
Oh man.
Oh my God. Least... John says it best. He goes, I love overreacting Twitter. It's like a high school girlfriend. It is like high school out there. It's so much drama. I love it though. I love it. I love the drama. I'm a Taurus. We love drama. It's good stuff. My man Bryant, what's up? Raj and Ryan, double R's today. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button, all that good stuff. Go check out my boy Ryan. Where can we find you, Ryan? Let him know.
No Border Sports. YouTube. I'm at Border Sports on Twitter. It's No Border Sports on YouTube. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I got a Instagram, but I never do anything on there. So I just kind of focusing on Twitter and YouTube. So
there we go. Yeah. That's all you need. Twitter and YouTube is you start getting all over the place. It gets a little harder, but hey, it's all about the grind. Appreciate you, Ryan. Any last comments, thoughts, ideas? What you got? Anything left in that old noggin of yours for tonight?
No, I'll be on Beto's channel right after this. There's a big, huge show with a whole bunch of content creators, so go check us out. Ooh. Also, tomorrow night, I have my call-in show. We go from like 7 to midnight. So
7 to midnight.
Yeah, bro. Oh, we
Wow.
got 5 hours. Well, so it usually goes to about 11:30, 11:45, and like we've kind of ran out of everything that we've chewed on everything because 4.5 hours at this point. And we just kind of find a way to get over 5 hours and then we turn it off and we all go to bed. So
Yeah, 5 hours.
yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, bro.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That's a grind. That's fun. That's good times though, People love that stuff. So I got to bring back my call-in show. That was good. That was pretty popular with the fans. We're gonna bring it back. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Enjoy your rest of your night. Have a good show with Beto. I'm gonna get some food in the belly. I'm hungry. My daughter's texting me saying she's hungry, so we got to take care of business there. So,
Yes, you do.
sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Have a good one, Ryan. Take care. Appreciate y'all. And until next time, you know how it is. Keep the vibes straight. Love y'all.
Peace.